What up, second grade? It is Miss Crawl here again, and today we have another comprehension strategy to work on and practice. So remember, we need to activate that prior knowledge. What is comprehension? Comprehension is understanding what we're reading, right? It's awesome to be fluent and good readers, but we also want to know and be able to understand what we're reading. Understand what's going on in the story, why the character's doing this, why the character feels that way, and the different events happening in the story. So we talked a little bit about this comprehension strategy before, and that was key details. Again, let's activate that prior knowledge. Remember, key details are important details in the story. They answer those questions about who is doing it or why the character is doing it. Tells us things about setting, about events, and it tells us more. They're in the important details that help tell the story. So we focused on that last time. This time we're going to focus on key details, but in pictures and captions, and how pictures and captions can help tell us the important details. Now, a lot of times when we're reading a story, we'll see the pictures, right? And a lot of times the author and illustrator, remember illustrator is the one who draws the pictures, and the author, has some say in it too, they are going to pick pictures that are most important to the story, right? They're going to show you the important things that are happening. So oftentimes pictures are a great place for us to start and look at key details, and it's also a super helpful tool. So when we're reading a story, if we look at the pictures, that can help us understand key details. Sometimes pictures even have captions, and captions are a little piece of writing underneath the picture, and it tells us what's going on in the picture. And again, oftentimes the pictures that are included are important to the story. That's why they want to show us the pictures. And the captions tell us what's going on in the story. And again, captions are going to give us those key details. They're going to tell us the important parts of the story that we should know and that are important to us to understand what's going on. So we're going to do a little activity with key details using pictures and captions. So we're going to read a fun little story today, but first I want you to grab a piece of paper and something to write with. We're going to make our key detail boxes again, just like we did before. So let me make myself smaller and pull up what I want you to draw first. So I want you to go ahead and get your piece of paper. If you need to pause me to go ahead and do that, get the materials I asked for, go ahead and unpause me when you're ready. So now that you have your paper, I want you to make two big squares in the middle of your paper. We're going to be writing a good amount in them, so make them big, right in the middle of your paper, just like this is in the middle of the paper. Make two big squares. And then at the top of each of them, write detail. This is where we're going to put key details that we find using pictures and captions. All right, if you need to pause me to finish this, go ahead. But I'm going to pull up our story for today. So our story is People Helping Whales by Rachel Tandy. So we can already go ahead and look at this picture. We can, from the title and the picture, see we're going to be learning about whales. People helping whales. So I want you to silently read along as I read out loud, and then we're going to look back and find some key details. Whales come in different sizes. The blue whale is the biggest. Orca whales swim very fast. They hunt fish, seals, and birds. So here we can see a picture, and this is a caption right here. This is helping describe what's going on in this picture. And it says, blue whales can weigh close to 200 tons. Here's another picture and a caption. Orcas are also called killer whales. Whales have fat under their skin. It is called blubber. It keeps the whale warm. Well, I'll read this caption. Whales need to stay warm. Whales breathe air. They breathe through a blowhole. It is on the top of the whale's head. Here's a picture of that, and then we see the caption. This whale is breathing out. And we can see that in the picture. Whales live in groups. They are called pods. Whales roam the oceans. In the summer, they live in cold oceans. Then winter comes. They swim to warmer oceans. This is a pod of orca whales. Sometimes whales wander too close to the shore. They become stranded. They get stuck on the beach. Whales cannot live on the beach for long. You can see a picture of some whales stranded. The whales need help. People work together. They try to save the whales. A stranded whale must be kept cool and wet. People pour cold water on it. They must be careful. The water cannot go into the whale's blowhole. Water helps keep whales cool in the sun. People dig away the sand around the whale. This allows the air to blow around it. That keeps the whale cool and safe. We can see that here. How can people move a whale? It takes many people. They use a raft. That is a special kind of boat. They also use a crane. It lifts the whale onto the raft. A boat tows the raft to deep water. The whale swims back out to sea. Everyone is excited. They watch it go. All right, that is the end of our story. So now that we read that, I want us to go back. What are the key details or the important details in this story that we learned about whales? And how can we use the pictures to help us know that? Well, the first thing I noticed, I'm going to talk about what I noticed first. So it's important to know, how whales breathe. And the whales breathe air. They breathe through a blowhole. It is on the top of the whale's head. We learned that. But look, I can use this picture right here and see the blowhole, and I read the caption that says this whale is breathing out. So a key detail from this text is that whales breathe through a blowhole. And this picture shows me that. So I want you to go ahead and on our first detail box, we're going to say whales breathe through a blowhole. Let me zoom in for us so you can see. Oh, other way. There we go. Whales breathe through a blowhole. And we saw that in our picture and through the caption. So the picture and caption helped us with our key details. So go ahead, if you need to pause me and write that in your first box, go ahead. All right, let's keep looking for more key details. Oh no, here we go. All right, so we learned about how the whales breathe. What else did we learn about? Think about this picture. What do we see here? We see a group of whales. And what is a group of whales called? What did we learn? What's a key detail we learned from this page? That whales live in groups that are called pods. Yeah, and this caption also says this is a pod of orca whales. So that's another key detail that we were able to learn from the text. Whales live in groups called pods. I want you to go ahead and write that on the second detail box that you have. Whales live in groups called pods. That was another key detail, an important detail that helped answer about the setting or the characters or the events in the story. Remember, that's what key details do. They tell us about the characters or the setting or the events that are happening. All right, go ahead again. Pause me if you need to write this. And once you're done, unpause me. All right, I'm going to turn to another page. And I want you to look at this page. And I want you to tell me what's a key detail that we learned from one of these pictures. What's a key detail or caption? What's a key detail? What's a detail that tells us more about the events, the characters, or the setting of this story based on the pictures? Go ahead and I want you to write it on your box. I know we only drew 2 boxes, so if you want to go ahead and put it back on your first box, maybe leave a good space and we'll write our next detail down here. So if you want to pause this so you can look at the pictures, take a moment and write down what's a key detail that we get from this picture. So I see this picture right here, and I see the people putting water on the whales. And I read the caption, and it says, water helps keep whales cool in the sun. So that's a good fact, because when these whales get beached, when they get too close to shore and end up on the sand and not in the water anymore, they need to stay cool in order to survive before the humans can get them back into the ocean. That's an important detail. We need to know that they need to stay cool, or else they wouldn't survive to get put back into the ocean. So that's a key important detail that we found from this picture and caption. So water, so let's go ahead and write that here. Water keeps the whales cool in the sun. So as they're beached and on the sand, they need to be constantly cool. They need to be cool to survive, and water does that. That's a really important detail. If you had something like that, awesome. If not, I want you to add this. So go ahead and put this maybe at the bottom of the box. Add another detail, key detail. All right, go ahead and pause me to write that if you need. And we're going to go back to our story. All right, I also want you to look at these two pictures. This is the last one we're going to do. And I want you to find one more key detail. What's another key detail? So again, pause me if you need to be able to look at the pictures. And again, we only have 2 boxes, but go ahead and in the second box, write your next detail down here. Write the next key detail that you can see from this page. So one thing is, a key detail is, how do we get the whales back into the water once they're beached? Whales are heavy. We've learned that in the very, very beginning of the story. What do? Well, we can see in this picture that they use a raft to take the whale back into the deep water, because they don't want to drop the whale back into the shore in shallow water where there's not a lot of water, it's very deep, because then they're not going to be able, they might get beached again. So the raft has to take them all the way where it's really deep, so the whale can be back out there. So that's a huge key important detail. So we're going to put that. A raft is used to take the whale back to deep water. That's a key detail. A raft is used to take the whale back to deep water. So go ahead and copy that down. If you had something like that, awesome job. If not, just go ahead and add that to your box. So go ahead and put it at the bottom or wherever you have room to add to your key detail. All right, second grade. Amazing job today. So again, we had already talked about key details. You already had that prior knowledge of key details. We're just going to use that and move it to pictures and captions. So remember, a key detail tells us important information about the characters, the setting, or the events in a story. And we can use pictures and captions to help find what those key details are. So next time you're reading, I want you to pay attention to the pictures that you see and the captions that you see, because they usually tell you important details or key details about the story. Awesome job, guys.